Because we're going to go over 9 of the biggest problems that baby boomers are facing right now.
Hello, my name is John Convery, and welcome to this edition of Retire with Coffee. Michael and I are delighted you're with us. We're here broadcasting from the kiln-dried log cabin. You'll see we've got a little Merry Christmas decoration, getting excited. Santa's going to be good to us, I hope, and I hope to you as well. But God bless you, an anointing of good health, and thanks for joining this edition of Retire with Coffee. Mike, great to be with you as always. I know you've got some subject matter that you want to serve up for our retiree constituents and anybody who loves to watch our show, so let's have at it. Where are we going to go today?
Absolutely. Well, this is going to be a two-part show because we're going to go over 9 of the biggest problems that baby boomers are facing right now. So make sure you tune on in for the next show later on in the week because we are going to go over 4 today, starting with number 1, and that is what everybody knows. Baby boomers are living longer than ever, and it's giving them a little bit of anxiety about retirement because not many people realize how they can conquer the fear of outliving their money. And that comes with living longer than ever.
Number 1, you got to know your fees and squeeze them out. Sometimes they're opaque to you. You can't even see them on your brokerage statement. And you got to know your cash flow. Now, a good benchmark or rule of thumb is this. If you look up the uniform tables for required minimum distributions, you know, if you have a 401k or an IRA at age 70 and a half, the IRS wants to tax your money. They got their pewter cup out and a wooden nickel. They want you to take an income theoretically so you'll liquidate your IRA throughout the course of your life, and the last check you write will be to the undertaker, and you hope that one bounces. That's what they're hoping for as well. They want your tax revenue. Well, if you use that table at 70 and a half and you figure out, you divide your investment by the denominator in the IRS published table, uniform tables for required minimum distributions, that probably gives you a pretty good idea as to how much you can spend from your retirement assets to have some degree of assurance that your money will last a 25 to 30 year retirement, because it's based on actuarial life expectancy, which is a good guideline to tell you how much you can draw without really having to be that concerned about your money lasting for a 25 or 30 year retirement.
Yes, absolutely. And that is the biggest problem baby boomers are facing right now going forward. But we are going to get into a list of problems, and we are going to go over number 2 right now. And that's baby boomers are living longer than ever, but a lot of them are stepping into retirement while still caring for their aging parents. So what are some things baby boomers can do to make sure that when they retire, they could still take care of their parents as well? Because unfortunately, that's the way it's gone.
Yeah, well, listen, that generation before us, our predecessors, they were what Tom Brokaw described as America's greatest generation in his New York Times bestseller. And in truth, they served in World War II. My dad, deceased now, was a Purple Heart recipient in the Korean War for his courage and his bravery in serving his country. And if you're a veteran, I salute you. Thank you for your service. But at the end of the day, if you think about this, we're part of what we call the sandwich generation. Many of us have aged parents that need to be ministered to, that have their own care needs, as well as children that still you're trying to get them through the University of Florida under the prepaid program and make sure they get out to be productive citizens in society. It's the sandwich generation. One of the things that I always point out, though, is find out what benefits your parents are entitled to. For instance, if they served in any branch of the U.S. military, get this, there may be a benefit, maybe, that they could be eligible for called Veterans Aid and Attendance. It's what I like to call long-term care insurance for service veterans and their families who qualify, but they paid for it with the sweat of their brow and their service on foreign soil during wartime America. Long-term care insurance of sorts without buying insurance and have the burdensome premium associated with that or thereof. So at the end of the day, folks, keep these things in mind. You got to get broadly and deeply educated to really make the best choices as to how to provide for your parents' needs as well as your children who you're trying to get out of the nest at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. You got to get educated so you can simply retire over a cup of coffee and thrive in retirement, not just survive. And that all starts with education, because the benefits are out there, but nobody's
That's right.
really letting you know they exist. So a lot of people call about Veterans Aid and Attendance when they hear it on the radio because they're veterans and they've never heard about it before.
That's right. I mean, if you go to the VA for care, that's wonderful. I have many clients that work there as healthcare professionals. For some reason, though, bipartisan aside, it's not something that people are aware of. When I bring it up, it's like raising it up on the flagpole, that patriotic sign or the waving flag. This is an epiphany for you. Now, it may not be for you, but can you imagine a parent who needs in-home care? That's not covered by Medicare, you know. Did you know that? Can you imagine if they could qualify for $2,013 a month tax-free to cover unreimbursed medical expenses and have the pride and the enjoyment of being able to be cared for at home with the ones that they love? That's powerful for those of you that are in that situation. So if you're not aware of it, you'll know how to get in touch with us. But think of the opportunities. They're always out there in abundance. You just got to pursue them relentlessly.
Yes, absolutely. If you learned something new right there through the first two problems baby boomers are facing in today's generation, make sure you like the show
Like the show a lot. Like it.
because we are going to get into the third problem that baby boomers are facing.
Number
and
3.
that is that not only are they taking care of their parents a lot of times when they are stepping into retirement, baby boomers also need to plan for their own care when they get older. So what are some ways people can plan for their health care when they step into retirement? Because we all know, if you've been watching the show, health care is going to be one of the single biggest expenses for the baby boomers.
That's right.
In retirement.
In our generation, many of us were not service veterans because there was no longer the draft. You had to register at the U.S. Post Office. Remember that? But many of us were not called upon to serve after things quieted down for a while, after we lifted our soldiers out of Saigon in Vietnam. We went into a period of quiet. So here's the thing. The Pension Reform Act of 2006 calls forth those things that be not as though they were. And now there are things such as what we'll call income riders with home health care benefits that can provide certain money to you in retirement, an income for life, and the amount of income that you can get if you need assistance with daily living can double for up to 5 years. Double without buying long-term care insurance. That's a huge breath of fresh air, because can you imagine, let's say you were getting $30,000 a year in a lifetime income on an annuity with a guaranteed income rider. Well, if you lose 2 activities of daily living, you need help with dressing, or you can't supervise taking your own home medications, all of a sudden a physician certifies that, you file a claim, and guess what? That income can double for up to 5 years to cover in-home care costs, even though you weren't a service veteran, not entitled to maybe, if eligible, aid and attendance, as we talked about a little earlier. Might be something for you, particularly if you'd like to have protection, but you do not see yourself buying or negotiating the payments and paying a burdensome premium of long-term care insurance.
Yes, wow, that kind of blew my mind. So we're going to get into the fourth problem that baby boomers are facing heading into retirement, and that is simply that they are not taking care of their health. And that's something you have to really deal with, because health is an important thing when you step into retirement, and it's most definitely not an excuse, because our resident white-haired wonder Patty Cakes, or Patricia, she goes to the gym every morning, so you gotta be healthy, because nobody wants to retire and not be able to get out of bed.
No doubt. You see this merger discussion going on with CVS, the retail drugstore, pharmacy chain, if you will. Years ago, they made a conscientious decision to sell away. They took a stand, and they do not offer cigarettes for sale at CVS. They're like a health or wellness clinic. That's the direction. Now they're looking to integrate vertically with Aetna, one of the largest health insurance providers in the country, to offer a better experience, eliminate cost redundancies, and hopefully give better customized care to the patient at a reasonable cost. This could be a breakthrough innovation along with what United Healthcare is doing in a similar vein. The reason I bring it up, though, it's so important to take care of your health and look for these wellness opportunities. You know, at the end of the day, you only get one life and only one shot at good health. So my suggestion to you there is get on a regimen of good health practices, whatever that may be. You see so many people today wearing the Fitbits that can monitor pulse, blood pressure. You know, now we hear some of the applications from Apple themselves, Timothy Cook, the CEO of Apple, basically saying that there's reports of people that had arrhythmia or other conditions or caught up the early onset or early symptoms of having a stroke and were able to get medical attention before they actually had a stroke. Using technology, thinking outside the box, taking care of your health through wellness initiatives, maybe through a CVS clinic or orientation as to better health practices. All of these things can dovetail together to help you have an abundant and thriving retirement life.
Yes, I know exactly what I'm going to do after this show. I'm going to head on over to the gym and take care of my health. This is 9 of the biggest reasons that 9 of the biggest problems baby boomers are facing right now. We covered 4 in today's show. We'll be back with 5 more upcoming on Monday, so make sure you tune back in on Monday for the rest of the 5. This has been Retire with Coffee, where we're going to help you retire over a cup of coffee and make sure you can thrive in retirement, not just survive. As always, retire yesterday, live today. Let John close out the show. I'm going to let him close it out as usual, and we will see you on Monday. Stay
thanks,
tuned.
Mike. As always, listen, that's why he's fit as a fiddle, and he's got energy to boot, right? You got to love that guy. But at the end of the day, folks, here at Retire with Coffee, we're all about elevation and broadening and deepening your educational understanding so that you really can be positioned to have an abundant retirement life. And I always like to close our program out by sharing my paraphrase of the old Irish prayer that goes like this. May the wind be gently at your back. May the sun shine warmly on your face. May the misty low road rise up to meet the high road. And until our paths meet again, my friend, may God anoint you with good health, richly bless you and yours this holiday season, and have a magnificent day. Goodbye now.